I asked you what the worst reptile is, the one you would never keep, and I'm going to tell you why you're wrong about all of them. These are the top 5 reptiles you think suck, but actually rule. My name's Adam, this is Diamond, you're watching Wickens Wicked Reptiles, stick around. Now, I'm guilty too. I've made reptile videos about, this reptile sucks, or these are the 5 reptiles that suck, and they're always, propaganda for that reptile. I'm trying to draw you in with negativity and then blast you with positivity. That's kind of what this channel is about. But today, let's go over the reptiles that I hear all the time. They suck because of this reason or that reason, and I'm going to tell you why you're wrong, but even if you still believe it, I'll give you better options. So let's start off with number 5. Dart frogs. I'm just gonna give you a minute to write, they're amphibians, not reptiles, or whatever it is you guys write when I talk about frogs. We're talking about herpetoculture here, right? Everybody knows that frogs and reptiles go together in this hobby. Anyway, the point is dart frogs kind of suck for a lot of people because, well, you need them to be really, really humid. Or maybe you don't like things that are really, really humid, not because you can't facilitate it, but because you're just afraid of rot and things like that. Well, I'm here to tell you that no matter where you live, you can keep dart frogs correctly. Now, obviously, it's easier for me in a place like Southern Ontario where it's humid all year. It's 90% humidity outside right now at 35 degrees, okay? It is humid all the time. So it's easy to keep humid animals. For me, taking humidity out is hard. So if you live in Arizona, you have to putting humidity in is gonna be your challenge. So I think that you can do it. First of all, good substrate, glass lid. That's what I'd recommend right away. So in this Leucomella tank, right, Dendrobates leucomella, my favorite dart frogs probably, it has a glass lid and it has really good substrate and it's on a misting system. So this thing, I could take the misting system off and it would remain humid. In fact, I had to drain it the other day because it was getting waterlogged. And this is right beside my furnace, okay? So the humidity in this room sometimes is 30% in the winter time. So trust me, I get it, I understand your struggles, but I have no problem with my dart frogs because I set them up correctly. Now the other issue why I think a lot of people think they suck is because they eat fruit flies. Hey, fair play, I get it. Fruit flies can be messy, they can be all over the place, they'll escape the enclosure. When you make the fruit fly cultures, they get all over the place. I get it, I totally understand. So instead, why don't you get something like Dendrobates terribilis? Okay, terribilis might be my favorite dart frog actually. Now these are mints that you see here, and these guys I feed crickets to. I feed medium crickets or smaller. Fruit flies at this point, because they're such big frogs, don't really do anything. And it was actually Reptiliatus, Diana Reptiliatus, that gave me this advice. And as soon as I put them onto crickets, which were 1/8 at the beginning and then 1/4, and then now we're up to medium crickets, I think that they grew way faster. They have no issues. You need to feed them less often. I just think that if you want dart frogs, but you don't want fruit flies, get terribilis. When they're babies, for sure, you'll have to feed them fruit flies, but they'll grow out of it, unlike most dart frog species. Number 4, I'm gonna group these together. I'm gonna talk about arboreal bitey boys. So things like Amazon tree boas, green tree pythons, and emerald tree boas. Now you guys know, if you watched the last video, I got emerald tree boas. I love them. They're one of my favorite reptiles in the entire world, but they're a display animal. I got these as a display. I did not get these animals to be messed with your hands. That's not what they're for. These animals are to look at and be like, wow, that's a really cool snake. That's basically what they're for. But the 3 species that I mentioned, and there's more as well, but these ones are, the most common ones, I think are showstoppers. Now when you get babies of green tree pythons or emerald tree boas, you're gonna get an animal that's orange or yellow a lot of the time, and they just look stunning. And then they turn into these green animals with white on them, right? Some have a little bit of white, some have a lot of white, depending. And I just think that they're showstoppers, especially these emeralds. Look at these emeralds, okay? Their heads look like bulldogs. They are amazing. They eat really well. They have huge teeth, so you don't want to really mess with them. They are pretty cantankerous, but I love to look at them. They look good in this enclosure, and once they're established, I'm going to put in some dart frogs too. You can actually do a cohab because emeralds are definitely not going to be eating dart frogs, and I'm going to have a Suriname species with these Suriname boas, so I think it's going to be really fun. But I would say if you want something that's less bitey, maybe get yourself, I don't know, a spotted python or something like that. That isn't going to be as bitey, but still going to be as arboreal. They're not going to look as pretty, in my opinion, but there's really nothing that's going to look as pretty as these that are going to be handleable. If you think I'm wrong, just let me know in the comments section. Maybe I'm just overlooking it. Oh yeah, and these guys don't really hide that much. That's another thing. So if you want an animal that's going to be out in the open, emerald tree boas, green tree pythons, Amazon tree boas, things like that. Speaking of things that suck, you know what else sucks? Most skincare routines, but not mine. Thanks to today's sponsor, Geology. I think at the beginning of the year, we all want to improve ourselves, and as things wind into February, perhaps we lose track. But I haven't, because it's so easy to do the thing that I wanted to do this year, which is take care of my skin. I'm getting a little bit older, my skin is getting drier, I'm getting dark circles under my eyes, and Geology has products for me. So perhaps it's difficult to start a routine, but Geology makes it really easy to continue. So, super simple, the numbers are on the bottle. Get out of the shower, wash my face with this because it says number 1 on it. Then you put the eye cream on, it's number 2. Then I put the moisturizing morning cream on because that's step number 3. Pretty darn simple, and the entire thing takes me 90 seconds. Then at night, similar process, you add in the night cream, wham bam, Bob's your uncle, your skin's ready to go to bed. And these are products that are full of chemicals you'll never need. They use a small number of ingredients and ones that actually work. And with over 7,000 5-star reviews, I'm not the only one that loves Geology. You're gonna be surprised how much better your skin feels, trust me. I'm talking a 30-time award-winning personalized skincare company recognized in Men's Health, Esquire, there's so many that I can't name them all. Plus, it's not one size fits all. You take the quiz, you tell them what you want out of your skincare routine, and then they set you up with the right products for you. Right now, for a limited time, they're hooking you up with an absolutely insane offer. Use my code WWR70 or scan the QR code on the screen, and they'll give you an exclusive 70% off their award-winning skincare trial set. On top of that, you can get 50% on the add-ons products. Any one of your choice when you add it to your trial. This is one of the biggest offers of the year. You gotta get it before it's gone. Scan the QR code or hit the link and use code WWR70. Number 3, Chuck Wallas. Now you might be thinking, what the heck is a Chuck Walla? Well, it's this. Imagine a flatter, weirder looking bearded dragon, but they're from North America. That's kind of what they are, right? And I think they're amazing, but most people don't even know they exist. I haven't seen one since 2011 maybe. There used to be a reptile shop that no longer exists a couple towns away from me. I'd go there every week. And they had a Chuck Walla. It was cohabited with a bearded dragon, which might not be the best idea, but you know, neither here nor there. Oh yeah, speaking of bearded dragons, let me know, what's your favorite morph in the comment section? My whole turtle tank, 150 gallons of water just went through my floor a couple days ago, and I'm selling the turtles and I'm gonna put a bearded dragon in there. The diamond's gonna stay down here, obviously, he's the mascot, but I think it'd be cool to have a bearded dragon in my living room. It's 150 gallons, it's freaking huge. So what's your favorite morph? I want something kind of cool. Let me know in the comments. Anyway, I think that a lot of people think that they suck because they're boring, they don't look that cool, they're herbivores, so they're not gonna be eating the same sort of diet. And I just think this is all baloney. I think that these are really cool animals, and I think that I really appreciate them for looking so amazing. I just think that they're really not that common. They're not really commonly bred, so anything that you find is probably brought in from the wild, which isn't really what you want to do. And I think that people think that they suck, just the boring factor. That's really what it is. And I would tell you that they're not. I mean, they're handleable, they're slow moving, they're super chill. You come in the room and every single time they're just going to be like... So I think Chuck Wallas are super underappreciated. If you want something maybe a little bit bigger or more robust, and if something that has a similar type of environment, maybe some of the spiny tail iguana species would be good for you. I mean, some of them are handleable, some of them aren't. They need bigger enclosures, but I see a lot of people lumping these two together in that their diets are similar. They come from similar climates, not areas, but climates. And they're just, you know, kind of really cool. And I think they're underappreciated too. You really can't go wrong with either of these species. Number 2, jeweled Lacertas. Now, you guys know I used to have Bob the Jeweled Lacerta, RIP Bob, he was the man. But a lot of people said the same thing when I had him. Well, why the heck would you have that? It's a tiny little lizard from the Mediterranean. Well, it's like average, medium size, I guess. And they're not really that handleable, and they're gonna eat a lot of bugs, and they're supposed to eat vegetation, but they won't. And all those things were true, by the way. But they're beautiful, they're amazing, and they're super smart, and you can definitely train them to be handleable. I just got mine when they were too old. They didn't want anything to do with me. They didn't want to be handled. And Mr. Bob here had metabolic bone disease, which is why he kind of walked like this, you know? So I think that they're really cool, and they look really cool, and they have the forked tongue, and they're smart. But most people would want to go for something maybe a little cooler like a tegu. The problem is, although people call Lacertas mini tegus aren't mini. That's the problem. So I think a lot of people, when they think about a tegu, they want the, you know, a puppy dog type characteristic where they're super smart and they look at you and they almost want affection, it seems like. The problem is they're too big. So if you want an animal that's not as big but has all those characteristics, same sort of diet, same sort of habitat, same sort of environment and characteristics and care requirements, then get a jeweled Lacerta. You can keep a jeweled Lacerta in a 4x2x2. you're gonna need an 8x4x4, something like that, for a full-blown tegu, like a black and white or a red. So because of that, I think that they're really underrated, but I think that's why people think they suck. Is they're just kind of boring, they're not what you really want, they're kind of a stepping stone, but be realistic with yourself. Don't go buy a tegu when you can't keep an adult tegu. Like, I see this happen all the time and they're for sale. If you buy baby tegus, they're pretty expensive. If you buy adult tegus, oftentimes they're really cheap because people are just trying to get rid of them because they didn't have the foresight and they're outgrowing the enclosure and they don't have the money, or they just don't want to buy a new enclosure. So Julisers are pretty freaking awesome. And I mean, they look like this. Like, they're iridescent and cool looking. And also, I kept mine outside every summer and he did great. He'd actually put on weight during the summer. So number 1, venomous snakes. Okay, hold on a second. I do think that venomous snakes, like true venomous snakes, elapids, vipers, things like that, suck for 99.9% of people looking for a reptile. Do not get them. I mean, there are some people out there who are qualified and have the expertise and licensing when necessary, but don't just go out and get a squam or an eyelash viper, please. It's just not a good idea. I know they're cool looking. I wish I had one too. It's too risky. But what if I told you could have venomous snakes and even feel comfortable handing them to your kids to handle? Well, then you'd want to get something like, I don't know, a hognose snake. Or if you want something maybe a little bit more spicy, don't hand this to a kid maybe, but a mangrove snake or a false water cobra. So you can keep venomous snakes and tell your friends, I have a venomous snake, and you're not lying. Rear fang venomous snakes do have venom. I know that their venom might be a advanced saliva, and they might not have hypodermic needle teeth. They have like groove teeth or smooth teeth, and they have to chew the venom into you, but it's still a venom. If you get bit by a mangrove snake and you let it hold on to you, you're gonna have a swollen hand. Some people get that from a hognose snake. And although hognose snakes are one of my favorite snakes, they're, you know, the logo of the channel, it's what started it all for me. And I don't think they're underrated. I just think that a lot of people put venomous snakes in this category, and I know what they're talking about, but I wanna be a little cheeky here in the video and try to give you an option for, hey, if you want a venomous snake and you wanna be a cool dude, you can still get one, but in a way that's not going to kill you or someone in your family or maim you. Because I'll tell you what, even if you get bit by an eyelash viper or a squam and it's not going to kill you likely, it's going to be a bad day for you. And if it gets out and hurts your dog or your kid or your wife or your family, bad news bears. Don't do that. It's not worth the risk. Make sure you know what you're really doing if you get one. And realistically, if you're watching this video to figure out what reptiles people think hate, you're probably not a venomous guy. Although you're all welcome. Venomous people, please watch my channel. Appreciate you. You're the best. Anyway, I want to say thanks for watching this video. What reptiles would you never keep? Let me know in the comment section below. Thanks for hitting like and subscribe. It really does help the channel. Like, it really, really does. Please consider hitting the buttons if you haven't already. And as always, a special thanks to the Patreon supporters. You guys get videos early, discounts on merch. You guys get one-on-ones. I love doing those. Those are so much fun. All of that and more for as little as $1 a month. That's it. Because I do videos twice a week. That means I'll see you in the next one.